Hi there guys, Darryl Griffiths here for Jumpcut Online. Hope your weeks are going very well. This is my first video review from London Film Festival. The press screenings have kicked in this week. It's like a 2-week run for us before the official run of the festival in early October, along with myself, fellow Jumpcut Online writers Dave, Sarah, Lucy, Holly and Ben. If I've missed anybody, apologise, don't hate me. We're all covering the festival in some capacity for the website, so look out for our reviews, interviews and so forth across the run of the festival. The first offering from myself today is Little Monsters. It is a zombie comedy, a very well-worn subgenre within the horror confines now, with the likes of The Walking Dead, The Dead Don't Die recently, directed by Jim Jarmusch, which fell quite flat for me, bar the great performance from Adam Driver. So when I saw this yesterday, it was very much a case of crossing fingers that it would be a cut above. It stars Oscar winner Lupita Nyong'o, Josh Gad from Beauty and the Beast, and Alexander England, who, funnily enough, with a surname like that, is an Aussie, but there you go. Alexander England kicks off the premise of Little Monsters. He plays a wannabe rock star called Dave. He's hardly Dave Grohl in those takes. He's emerging from a bad breakup, but does have a good camaraderie with his sister's son Felix, played by Diesel Lataraka, and he ends up on this school trip at an animal park, and Dave encounters Miss Caroline, of course played by Lupita, and she's rocking the yellow dress, very sunny disposition, full of vibrancy, which is very much a counterpoint of what Dave is, because he's, you know, scraping by and not really loving life at the moment. But of course, an animal park with a film like this is mere meters away from a place where a zombie outbreak is about to occur. It's not the most well explained within the film, but of course it triggers, you know, your usual zombie apocalypse. So instantly we get Lupita having a shovel and being quite vigorous with it. Now, Little Monsters, there's fun along the way, I'll give it that, but I think it is so zany, it gets to a point where a lot of its intentions wear very thin very quickly, in all honesty. There's little quirks that are impressive. You'll never hear a Taylor Swift song in the same way again, particularly Shake It Off. I don't think Taylor Swift wanted that reputation of being the poster child of a zombie comedy, but there you go. She'll have to deal with this, I'm afraid. And there's a particular reference to a 90s boy band, which was interesting, which I won't spoil for the sake of people who still want to see it, because it has been picked up by Altitude, so it will be out very soon. The saving grace for me is Lupita, but the problem is, considering you get the impression from the trailer that she's got top billing here, you almost feel like she's relegated for Alexander England's Dave as the film progresses. And it's a damn shame, because I feel like she's the one who really holds it all together amongst all the frat-back comedy and sort of gross-out humour that it sort of aims for, amongst all its various quirks, like the use of nursery rhymes, counterpointing the zombies charging at them is pretty neat. But there's one particular musical riff, where the zombies are basically clapping along, and it feels like someone out of Shaun of the Dead, where it's like that moment with Simon Pegg and Nick Frost. Poor imitation, I know, but it did have that feeling. It does feel a bit throwaway in terms of what it goes for. England's Dave, his comedy, I mean, particularly in the early stages, it feels like a rom-com, in all honesty. It's like a Judd Apatow production, with like 360-degree, 360-degree shot of dinner tables and surveying the scene of their various friends as he's emerging from this breakup, and the humour that when he tries to go back to his girlfriend as well, with another great pop culture reference. It feels, the funny thing is about this film, considering it's a zombie comedy, the initial stages are particularly promising, but the longer it delves into the zombie side of things, it doesn't quite connect. And of the other characters, Josh Gad, who plays a washed up children's entertainer, played by called Teddy McGiggles. The only thing I can compare it to is when he was the obnoxious brother of Jake Gyllenhaal in Love and Other Drugs. It has that vibe about the way he talks about women, and I found it grating. I really did, and just the way, you know, the profanity's dropped in, it feels really forced at times, and I appreciate what they're trying to go for with Jumpcut's character. You know, like Jones Entertainer doesn't really want to be doing it, and is basically in it, you know, for various other reasons. But it really is annoying, and I have all the time in the world for Josh Gad up to now, but this performance is not good at all. It just doesn't gel very well with what the rest of the film is trying to achieve, because there's like unashamed sentimentality thrown in, particularly with the relationship with Dave and Felix, and it just doesn't mesh very well at all. I mean, for me, without Lupita, I think this film would fall apart. I really do. I think she keeps a sense of fun to proceedings amongst all the nonsense around, to be honest. And Little Monsters, I have to say, it's just another throwaway addition to the Zom-Com or rom-zom-com, whatever you want to call it, genre. And considering the talent involved, it's very middle of the road. And for all its quirks, it does throw a lot at it, and some set pieces are inspired, but I think as a coherent whole, Little Monsters, whilst not quite a monstrosity, it's hardly a superior beast either. So a bit of an iffy start to the festival, I'm afraid. But that is my review of Little Monsters. I hope you enjoyed it. Let's just say Little Monsters didn't quite measure up to this guy, Mr. Pennywise, in the horror stakes in recent weeks. But yeah, reviews are coming up from myself. Monos, which I saw yesterday as well with Little Monsters, that is terrific, without giving too much away. An intense experience by director Alejandro Landes, who has been endorsed by Guillermo del Toro. So I'll give you a good indication of what kind of vibe he's going for. We've got Knives Out, which is my most anticipated of the festival. A Beautiful Day in the Neighbourhood with Mr. Tom Hanks, directed by Marielle Heller, who provided Can You Ever Forgive Me, which is one of my favourite films of this year, with Melissa McCarthy and Richard E. Grant, the legend that is Richard E. Grant. Thank you. But yeah, that is a wrap for today. Look out for the reviews, and on a final note, if you give me a moment, Jumpcast, everybody. It has debuted. Spotify, in my case, you can check it out on Spotify, iTunes, SoundCloud, and all the rest of it. It's our new podcast that Dave, Sarah, Jacob, and Nick all kicked off on Monday with, funnily enough, this guy. So be sure to check it out. But for now, I've been Darryl Griffiths, and I will speak to you later, guys. Take care, and bye-bye for now.